Hey YouTube, what's good? Today is a Monday, and it's a very Monday, but that's okay. That is okay. So, what are we talking about today? Lots of good stuff. Markets on the rebound, which very happy about. People who I work with who are investing in the markets and stocks and things like cryptos, seeing what happened today. Very happy. Obviously, y'all know my sentiment on Shiba Inu. Shit is up like from the 20s to the 30s today, so something like a 20% increase. So it went from like the 0.22 to 0.33. Of course, like 0.050s and then those numbers, but that's okay. People should know what I'm talking about. I shouldn't have to say 0.000000022. Maybe I should just say 0.5033. 0.5 to the negative fifth. I don't know. Whatever. Things are good. In the markets, we'll see how well it holds up. Just one thought that I had today, mainly kind of like harping back, and I've talked about this before. The whole. I mean, it's kind of driven by this whole like let's go Brandon thing, and like again, y'all know like I'm not like a fan of the guy, but stuff like that is like it's just perpetuated to keep us divided. The president, I mean, he's nothing but a figurehead. I mean, the whole like stickers next to the gas, it's like haha, I did that, and it's picture of Joe, and it's like no, the president really has nothing to do with gas prices. The fact that they were good during the Trump era and they're like practically the same now, I mean, whatever. I don't get it. Like, maybe that was, I don't know, how much less was it? Anyway, like for me, like $25 a gallon to fill up versus $38 to fill up, it's not a big deal. It really isn't. I mean, if this was like it was back, who knows how long ago? I don't remember how long ago, but it was almost like $4 something a gallon, and that's back before the inflation was what it was today. And I mean that was tough. That was tough on a lot of people. But I just don't understand this whole rag on the president. It's like, do you really have nothing better to do with your time other than to like hold that amount of hate and resentment in your heart? I don't understand. I wasn't a fan of Trump. I really wasn't. I'm not really a fan of either of the crayon colors that gets picked to look good for the country or look bad for the country, depending on what the interests that be want to happen. I mean, truth is, whoever's got the biggest bank account and the biggest check wins the lobby. The corporate lobby interest. That's what wins out in the end. It doesn't matter. What you go in, you're gonna get corrupt when you go through that system. I don't think that there's anybody that hasn't gotten into politics for good reasons and not been turned to the dark side, as it were. Once you start getting that money and once you start getting that power, there's really no going back. It's just human nature. And I mean, that's why there's no form of communism that's ever worked. The only form of communism that works is your family, your nuclear family. Nuclear. Your nuclear family. That's not, economic communism, I guess, as far as like a whole national system of economics. So it'll never work. It can't work because politicians, people inherently do bad things when they have money and power, and they do good things or bad things or what have you, either or. They get money, they get power, and then no matter what, they will do bad things to keep it. They will always do bad things to keep their money or power. Unless, I mean, I don't know. There are some good presidents out there, but again, if you're a Stalin type and you get that type of power, I mean, you're not giving it up without a fight. There I go again with the yawns. It's like as soon as I get in this nice, comfy car and start talking, how do I expect to grow a YouTube audience if I can't even keep my own self awake with what I talk about, right? So, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I do know that things are getting out of hand. And, there's like these cycles. The thing is, people, I don't know how people have this whole short-term memory. It's like they don't realize that they are being gaslighted. They don't realize that the wool is pulled so thick over their eyes. I don't understand how people haven't accepted the playbook. They pulled shit with with terrorism. They made it. It wasn't necessarily Al-Qaeda, but there were domestic terrorist groups that they made appear to be, bigger than they were, and then you got things like Black Lives Matter, which made a big. I think it was 2014, 15, or 16. It was in that time when the first time Black Lives Matter kind of became a thing. I remember because this was when the bridge got blocked in Memphis, and there was a patient that was on his way to St. Jude's for cancer treatment and didn't make it, and of course he died. So that got really out of hand, and it turned out that movement was being funded by rich white people, the Koch brothers, I think, or somebody else. Was the other one? There's some other one, but it got traced back, and it was some politically charged people who were funding it. And what was really funny about it was these conservative people or Republicans or what have you, whatever interchangeable term for the one crayon color that you want to use is. And then, of course, we saw it again in 2020. I think we saw it when Bernie was running. Poor Bernie. Bernie, again, made so much money off of his campaign donations and has 3 houses. Poor guy. Just campaigns, talks a big game. Something about when he was in a commune, he didn't even pull his own weight. If you're gonna go that way, you gotta really commit, and a lot of people aren't willing to really commit. But hey, that's neither here nor there. So they do this thing. They divide us first in the 50s and before, mainly because it's natural. But they know how to do it, and this most current wave of feminism is a very good look into how they get stick their fingers into all the little subsets of culture. And they really want to drive home this, kill all men, and the world would be better. Women don't need men to live on the planet, and like that. True or not true, all it serves to do is divide even more. And then you get like these fucking nut MRAs, men's rights activists. But then you also get these fucking crazy ass, like, soy boys. I don't know if that's the right term, but these fucking these men who, well, they're not men, but they like should be men, but like they're like feminist and like in support of the movement, and it's so sad. You can just like tell like there's something not right about them because of the way that they just try to use that for sex. That's what it all comes down to. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Food, shelter, sex, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And these boys have failed in everything in life. They don't know how to get a mate. And so this is what they do. They try to be a chameleon, and it never works. It doesn't work. There's a whole thing I could talk about with that, about how even like hardcore feminists like are surprisingly attracted to what they say they despise, which is like a manly man, tall, good jawline, basically anything that is representative of the placeholder term alpha male. And these alpha females who are self-proclaimed feminists attract nothing but beta males that just orbit them and hang around because they just want to get sex. And it's, it is what it is. But on to the next. So they divide us by gender. They want us to feel divided by gender. They divide us by race because that's easy. That's kind of inherent in a lot of tribalist nature of humanity. Religion, classic, on its way out. Less and less people are religious. So that one's kind of on the downside, and that's okay. They want science to win, and that's okay. I'm all for science. I'm not necessarily religious. I'm spiritual, but what I believe in is not a conversation I'm ready to share with most of the world. Race, religion, gender, and now all this shit is getting funded and pushed so that there's just so much that everyone's confused. Now that's what it is. Just confuse the fuck out of everybody so nobody knows what's going on. Seems to be working pretty well. What they never want you to realize is that it's rich versus poor. They never want you to realize that, oh my God, like what is actually going on and what these people are getting away with. But that's just because the system's broken, I guess. They can't just give everybody all that money, and they printed a ton of money. They sure did. They gave out a ton of money. They printed a ton of money. We talked about that in the last episode. Yeah, they printed all that money, but, a lot of it went away too. And, the system only goes up until it crashes, until there is no system. So whatever. We know that. So what do we do with that information? Well, there's only one thing you can do. You play the game, and you pick the stocks, you go to work, and you learn skills. learn skills that help you adapt and move through life. And playing on a computer and being good at the market isn't really a skill that, number one, is worth anything if the grid goes down. And number two, isn't even really that fulfilling if you think about it on a human nature level. You know, humans need to be striving and working towards something. They need to have that sense of fulfillment. They need something to build. I don't know. I hope, anyway. This is how I feel. I like to build and create, move forth, and prosper. You know, that whole deal. But, like, most of the time what my ideas are limited to is really just capital or skill and ability. A lot of times I don't have the skill set necessary to either create some invention in my head or create and establish a company that I want to. Now, I'm building those skills in order to do that, but it's going to take time. Otherwise, if I had the capital and I had the money, I would just pay someone to do it for me. I would still control all the ideas and control the flow of work, but I would just pay somebody with the skill set and grow it from there. Or I don't have that. Plus, it's a little bit more fun to do it yourself. That's why I sit here and daydream about Shiba Inu eating a zero and making me $250,000 or whatever. You know, when I talked about the 90% rule, I like numbers and ratios, and they get a little out of control in my head sometimes, but they make sense to me. Well, like the 90% rule, like there was something somewhere, and most people kind of attest to this. It's like once you make that first $100,000, everything after that is easy. Money just keeps on coming. Mainly because of interest, right? So, you know, if you're not like investing the right way or doing whatever, you know, say you got $50,000, well, if you're earning 8 to 10%, we'll just round it out to 10%, that's $5,000 a year. But if you get to $100,000, that's $10,000 a year in interest. And then calculating dividends, fluctuations in the market, making above poverty level in just interest alone is a hell of a thing. So give it 5 to 10 more years, you're making double the poverty level of income and interest every year if you're deciding to pull it out and live on it or reinvest it. And hopefully you keep doing that over and over until you're 50, 60 years old, and you can comfortably live on all that money. All that interest. just because people are wealthy, this is the other thing, and like this isn't like in defense of rich people. And I get that like Bezos and Elon Musk and Warren Buffett and Mark Zuckerberg and Tim Cook and they innovated, they created companies. Bill Gates, used to like the guy, really I did, until he got greedy son of a bitch. He's a greedy pleb. Well, just because you have wealth doesn't mean you're rich. I could be wealthy of land. I could be an oil magnate and just have land of fields and fields of oil, but I only have $250,000 in the bank because I just found the oil. $100,000 of that's still on loan. I haven't secured a buyer. Blah 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 blah. Right. Another thing that I like to think about is your wealth of spirit. A lot of times rich people aren't happy. Well, that's because they don't have a wealthy heart and a wealthy mind. They have a greedy heart and a greedy outlook on life. Mine. If I don't get it now, then I'll never get it. Or this world is dog eat dog, or whatever. They have this terrible look out for my own self, lone wolf style mindset, but they have the poorest character. They're not wealthy in character. They're rich in their number of the amount of money in their bank account, but they're poor in character. So that's why I think like people like Warren Buffett are truly wealthy. They made a lot of money. They have a lot of money, but they still choose to live within their means. And that's the real key to having a healthy outlook on life, but also the real key to being wealthy. Wealthy isn't just a state. Wealthy isn't just assets. Wealthy is like a state of mind. It's a state of being. It's a state that you manifest. At least that's what I believe. And really, I think, and I truly feel that like there's something to that, because for a long time in my life, I chased rich. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to have money. That's what I wanted. And that's what I set my goal as, and what I set my mind to. And I failed, 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 and I failed. I learned a lot of valuable lessons. A lot of good lessons. But it wasn't until I started seeking fulfillment, and I started seeking, how do I put this? I guess knowledge. Every time, even though now I have good money to kind of do what's called a YOLO, and I do, it almost always bites me in the butt. When I first started, not when I first started investing, but when I first started getting comfortable taking more risks, I started doing penny stocks, and I lost a lot of money, because penny stocks, it's literally boiler room, except even though that was all over the phone and those guys are kind of sleazeballs, boiler room is like still a thing for these back channels that you can become a part of. people are still just pumping and pumping and pumping, and then you get a pump and dump. And then I was left holding a lot of bags. Which a bag, if you know, you might be familiar, you might not be, is basically like if you buy it for like, you know, 0.005 cents and you have like 100,000 shares, and then it runs up to like a penny, and you've like doubled your money, and then it like falls to like 3 zeros and then a 5 or 4 zeros, and it just bottoms out and it's worthless. Diluted, nada. And a lot of these shell companies are, that's what it really is. There are these shell companies. It's crazy the scams that can be done through penny stocks, and frankly how easy it is to get listed on an exchange. But that's a discussion for somebody much smarter than me. But it wasn't until I started seeking actual knowledge, and I started saying, okay, I'm not going to get rich quick. There is no magic bullet. And it's like you truly know that because so many before you tell you, but you don't really accept it until you find out yourself. And yeah, I mean, I owned like Ford and, you know, these like whatever, these like safe, quote unquote, that's not a really good way to say it, but these, you know, tried and true stocks. And Ford was one, and I owned like mutual funds, right? Like whatever, man. I remember the first time I ever bought mutual funds, 250 into 4 different mutual funds. Southwestern Investment Group. I don't even think they're around anymore. I saved up cash. I was so diligent. Every time I get birthday money, Christmas money, whatever, change, anything like that, put it away in my piggy bank. I saved up $1,000 in cash money, cold hard cash. Walked into the investment firm, met with the financial advisor, pulled a wad of cash out of my pocket, $1,000. I want to invest this. Now, you can't just do that, of course. And no, I'm not a drug dealer, but I'm sure that's what he thought. I don't know. But I told him, you know, I was like 19. No, I was 18. But God, I was young. Who knows? I was young. And I did it on my own accord. Don't even think I told my parents about it. I don't know. I know that I did it on my own. I didn't have to have parental consent. And yeah, I cashed that sucker in God, when did I cash that in? I remember I had to do it for some reason. Kind of regret it, but kind of don't. Well, anyway, God, there are so many effing skunks on this route. They're all dead. What is going on? They're stinking up the road, man. So, when I finally stopped chasing like these penny stocks, and like, yeah, deep down I knew like investing in mutual funds was like the way to go. But when I started actually building a portfolio of stocks, and I wasn't getting feed to death on mutual funds, you know, advisor fee here, blah, blah, blah there. Front-loaded mutual funds. Oh my God, talk about a rip. You're going to buy mutual funds, and things like B shares, like, don't even bother. Don't even bother. Just fucking, you know, find a good advisor who can just use a tool, because these tools exist, to look at the mutual fund that you like and find a similar ETF and find out what the internal ratio is to that ETF, and then you can either invest in that ETF for a tenth of the price of the mutual fund, or get a really good advisor like me who can invest directly into those stocks in that mutual fund for $1 a trade, if not less. And then you get all of the benefits of it, plus the dividend directly into your bank account, your investment account. So you get all the benefits, you get the dividends. The only thing you probably won't get is the same amount of shares. We can get you the diversification that they have. I mean, we can literally mimic the mutual fund / ETF. The only difference is you're just not going to get the same ratio of shares. And that's okay. Because fractional shares are a thing these days. It's brilliant, right? Brilliant. Who ever thought of that? So that really changes the game. You know, if you can't afford one whole share of Google, it's no big deal. You can just buy fractions of it. So anyway, speaking of, that was funny. I guess I won't say that road name, even though most people might end up finding out where and what, blah blah blah. So yeah, man, the president, man, is just a figurehead, man. I'm tired of all this tribalism and all of this jazz and this craziness about just, I don't know what my speed limit is here, but that guy just flashed his lights at me. There's a cop up ahead, y'all. Where's he sitting at? I like that house. Alright, so they divide us in religion, gender, race, all of that jazz. And it's just so that we just can't pay attention and we lose in the end. I mean, I don't know. What in the hell is going on? Man, there's definitely a copper up here. That or a big old accident. They're saying turn around. Oh man, I don't know. Oh, this is bad, I guess. Anyway, I'm just gonna wait. I have no other route home. Wow, this is crazy. You know, sometimes you just like don't really get to notice, but there's just this chimney, gutted house, like nothing. There's just the chimney. It's pretty cool. Whoa, y'all, this is rough. There's like a car flipped. I'm not turning around though. I don't know another way. Looks like they got people directing traffic. Sorry, this is like unexpected. Middle of the recording, but I don't want to break it because I don't know how to edit it back together. We've got to go ahead. Oh goodness. Doozy. Looks like he just kind of rolled off the street and then fell over. All kinds of stuff in the road. Wow, glass for days. Hope my wheels are okay. Okay. So, they divide us, they conquer, they confuse. What's going on out there? Anyway, options. Hey, my options are doing really well. Not all of them, but I'm still up. I'd hope. I'm not keeping a log like I should be. Tisk, tisk, tisk. But yeah, I'm taking profits where I can, and I don't know what's gonna happen if nothing comes of it. But probably got had on one freaking GameStop option. Maybe tomorrow it'll go crazy. Gangbusters. So that's all good and well. What else? Yeah, man, just freaking quit being distracted. It's tribalism. They're getting you. They have teams and teams of like kids who went to school for like their psychology degree, who are like definitely okay with, selling their soul to make a quick buck. And they these places, these conglomerates, whatever you want to call it, they corporations, like, they know how to manipulate and get their way, because they hire droves and droves and droves of these psychologists. So yeah, psychology degree probably gets you pretty far, a lot farther than you'd think. Now, psychology and sales, now that's something I wish I would have done. Number one, because it would have been fun. Number two, I like psychology. Number three, a lot of money in sales if you do it the right way. The trick is finding something to sell that you believe in. That's why I was always good at waiting tables. Food is food. Right? Now, the morality of it is easy. Everyone wants food. You have the product. You're willing to sell it. I could probably sell houses. In fact, I know that I could sell houses and I would have no moral issue with it. I just don't know if it would be for me. I would be pretty dang good at it if I had the right backing. I have the because people are gonna buy them, but I don't see it. I don't see it kind of lasting. I mean, because realtors really have to put up with Zillow and Redfin and these places that broker all of that for like way less commission than the realtor gets. So when you look at what career you want to go into, you really got to look at something that's not going to be replaced in the next 5, 10, it depends on your time frame. Now, what I do now, I don't think can be replaced in the near future, at least not before I retire, because of the level of detail and fine motor skills, I guess. But like a robo-advisor, financial advisors are definitely on the way out. So like there's a reason that I left that field. It's because it can get automated, and it can be automated, and the availability of information is such that there's just no need for it anymore. And very, very, very easy to replace that. I don't know, career, job, whatever. It's not worth it. Not worth it to try to build a new career in something like that. It's good on you, like all you dinosaurs. You have your client base built up, but financial advising is going to die with you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in a way that's realistic, maybe. There will always be a human factor to it, but the market's going to shrink. It really is. It's just going to shrink so much. There's really not going to be much demand for financial advisors. Like there used to be. Yeah, because like long gone are the days of like, oh yeah, call up your broker. It's just not how it works anymore. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Oh, that's a crazy big house. 3 garage doors. Wow. College loans, student loans, forgiveness. That's kind of been the thing, right? I talked about it and it happened. Some crazy amount got forgiven, mainly Navient and blah blah blah. So like, that's pretty cool. I mean, it is probably a good thing. They got to just like erase certain amounts of money from the economy with all the money that they just made. The more that I'm telling you though, the more that they forgive, the more the economy is going to be stimulated. And they're going to have to, with the amount of student loans that there are. I mean, think about like what happened in the Big Short. Think about the housing market. Think about how much debt, like just the insane amount of it. Okay, they can't just, call forth for it, and they can't just keep making these people. I mean, because like if they don't forgive it and help stimulate the economy, they're gonna lose what doesn't get paid off, and the defaults are worse than forgiving it. Okay, because if someone defaults on it, then they're really fucked and the economy can't grow. So it's the lesser of two evils. So that's like the thing, is people are like, well, you shouldn't take out a student loan if you're not prepared to pay it back. It's the mature and responsible thing to do. Okay. Well, when you go to higher education for 10 to 12 years to become a surgeon, and then the entire country is complaining about the amount of health insurance and the cost of healthcare, and you're totally fine with that because you got into it for your heart, not for the wallet or your paycheck. So you're okay with taking a pay cut. However, your student loan debt is fucking nutso crazy. So you can't really afford the pay cut because blah, 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 blah. And there's a certain prestige that comes along with being a surgeon. Alright? You don't want your surgeon to be pulling up to work in a 98 Honda Civic. I just don't think that mentally he's going to be in the right place if he's in debt. And a lot of it. And it's up to his eyeballs. And he's fucking freaking out. Okay, I want him to be calm, level-headed, in a good place in life, fulfilled. And he or she, right? Like, she's ready to go with a steady hand. She's not hungover because she doesn't know how to pay her student loans, and like that's also a placeholder for like she doesn't know how to pay the car note, the house note, the food note, The kid's school costs, and then now she's got student loans on top of that. Okay, like, lesser of two evils. People just, it's so black and white, and like that's what leads back to the beginning of this discussion. Like, the more angry you are at a person like the president, Trump or Biden or Bush or Obama, the less clear-headed you are about reasonable solutions. It's just the way that it is. They want that. They want you confused. They want you mad. They want you upset. Because you don't make smart, rational decisions if you can't think straight, if you're confused, if you're bombarded with too much information. It's just, we're all just rats in a cage. They're just studying us, man. And most of us, they got us pinned down. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just, they know how to move the little tendrils and get the results that they want out of most of the population. They know. It's the truth. The 68.9, is it 68.9%? Or no, 86.4, whatever the first, the -1 and the +1 standard deviation is, the bell curve. They know. They know exactly what to do. Are humans herd animals? I don't know. Are we herd animals? I don't think so. We tend to act like it sometimes, but we definitely are independent as well. So tough to say. I think we have tendencies. We're very complex. Human nature, that's a good topic. On the discussion of human nature, I just thought of Steve Irwin. That was a wild ride. Crocodile Hunter. Good times. Loved that show as a kid. Man, I really hope one day somebody comes back and actually dedicates some time to just watch my vids, and then they just cut out all the dead air sections and just cut it all down into something that you can just take in. I don't know. I don't know. It would be nice. It would be nice. One day, trying to get this thing off the ground. Maybe people care what I have to say. I've had a couple of good videos that seem to be getting a little bit of views here and there, but nobody's really commenting. So it's probably just crawlers, internet crawlers, more than anything. But hey, listen, I'm gonna go rest my voice. Got an evening ahead. I'm gonna need it for an hour coming up. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this crazy wandering discussion of how they divide us, how to invest and plan for your future, and any of the other little fun things that I talked about. So if you have any comments, please ask. If you have any topics, please comment. If you like what I'm doing and trying to put out, if you want to hear more, please like and subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps get me noticed, and that's what we want. Because if you like my message, then maybe someone else like you will like my message. So help spread it around. And until next time, friends, without further ado, till tomorrow, maybe.